Welcome to video number 3, where we will look at reading behavior part 1. Now that we've explored a common definition of writing, reviewed the 3 models, and have begun our reflections, we are going to transition into the next portion of our session. This portion will include continued reflection on selections of text, followed by a review of what the research says. We will then introduce and explore several strategies. Prior to moving on to the next, you will have an opportunity to practice it yourself. Shanahan posed this example of a reading behavior. Take a moment and read this quote to yourself. Now, I will read it aloud. Writers can begin with a blank page and a few constraints, whereas readers have to follow the author's lead and accept any interpretive constraints set by the author. For our next writing opportunity, we are going to reflect on the quote on the last slide. What key ideas, words, or phrases resonated with you, and why? Pause the recording here and reflect in your note catcher under writing opportunity number 2.
Reading and writing are not just reverse images of each other. Students must receive instruction in both reading and writing. The teaching of either alone is not sufficient. Just as we make time for reading instruction and practice, we need to make time for writing instruction and practice. Reading to writing models were more powerful than the writing to reading models. So having students write about what they have read or just learned is more powerful. For K1, there are other factors like decoding, spelling, and handwriting that come into play before they can engage in constructing sentences. For grade 2 and beyond, literacy factors include sentence and text discourse. In other words, students need to communicate a message clearly in a coherent sentence and later combine sentences to compose a coherent extended piece of text. So let's focus on a behavior or strategy, if you will, to create coherent sentences. Our first strategy that we'll focus on is sentence combining. Why? Sentence combining is an effective way to enhance sentence structure. Research has shown writing more varied and complex sentences about what has been read, learning information from text, affects writing quality and reading comprehension. In other words, sentence combining using content that has just been read or learned from text has proven to be very effective for enhancing comprehension and a student's writing style. So this is the how and why. Sentence combining requires the writer to take 2 or more choppy sentences. The writer combines them into one effective sentence. Sentence combining is a skill that enhances student writing style. So one possible way of combining these 3 sentences is student writing style may be enhanced with practice on combining 2 or more choppy sentences into one effective sentence. Now it's your turn. We have taken these phrases from the content of what you have read earlier. Pause and practice the skill in your note catcher. Make 2 sentences, one addressing reading and the other writing, or combine them all into one. After you practice, take a minute to reflect on what you did, the how to combine these sentences. What are students going to need to be able to do in order to create good quality sentences? Take a minute to read these 5 points. Providing sentence stems enables them to think critically and understand more complex sentences in their own writing. Practice beginning sentences with words like although and since will familiarize students with syntax, give them practice extending responses, and both enhance reading comprehension. The last bullet, before practicing independently, it's important to model for students and then have them practice orally before having them practice it in writing.